During World War I, a British steamer was patrolling off the coast of Ireland when it was attacked by a U-28 German submarine. Now, the steamer tried its best to escape, but the U-28 managed to get in 2 direct hits, and the British steamer sank shortly after. Now, this sinking would be all but forgotten today if it was not for a very odd sighting that was later found in the captain's log. The captain wrote that he was standing on the submarine's tower watching the British steamer sink. As it was sinking, he heard a very large explosion, possibly caused by the ship's boiler. And this huge explosion threw a mysterious sea creature clear out of the water. The captain stated in his log that whatever this creature was something he had never seen before. He said that it must have been at least 60 feet long, and it looked like an alligator. This creature had front and hind legs adapted for swimming, and a very long head that tapered towards the nose. The captain believes that he witnessed a creature that was supposed to be extinct, or at least unknown to science. A Belgian zoologist found out about this amazing sighting, and he was able to get a hold of the captain's log. After reading the captain's log, the zoologist believes that the captain came face to face with an ancient species of crocodile. Now, it wasn't just the captain that saw this creature. 7 other crew members also witnessed this, making this a very credible case, as they were all able to observe this creature for about 20 seconds, giving the captain and his crew plenty of time to observe this creature. Now, because of this rare documented sighting, some zoologists now believe that there might just be an ancient species of crocodile still alive to this very day in some remote locations throughout the world. Now, I know that might sound crazy to some, but let's not forget that in 1938, fishermen in South Africa caught a coelacanth, and this ancient fish was thought to be extinct for 65 million years. A very famous British zoologist was searching deep in the jungles of Southeast Asia looking for new species. Upon his quest, he stumbled upon some tracks that he just couldn't believe. In his own words, "I stopped dead, amazed at what I saw. I knelt down to examine these amazing but very disturbing footprints in the earth. A print so like a man's, yet so definitely not a man's. My skin crept, and I felt a strong desire to head home." He stated that the toes looked human, but the sole was too short and too broad to be a human's. And the big toe was on the opposite side to what seemed to be the arch of the foot. He felt very uneasy when he stumbled upon these tracks, and he did not want to follow them. These tracks scared him. After he got back to the village, he wanted to get some answers. Now, the people of the village told him that he found footprints that belonged to what they called the forest people. He was very surprised that everyone in that area knew about these forest people. He thought that he was about to make the scientific discovery of the century, but he was never able to find any actual real evidence. Now, during the Vietnam War, 6 American soldiers were out patrolling deep in the jungle when they too came face to face with a strange ape-like creature. They said that it was about 5 feet tall, and it was covered in red hair from head to toe. They couldn't believe a creature like that actually existed. And this was not the only sighting during the war. In fact, there were hundreds of alleged sightings of these forest people, or what we now say in the West, the Little Bigfoot, making a lot of people believe that there might just be an unknown species of ape that lives in the dense forests of Southeast Asia. I have covered this amazing sighting in one of my other videos, but since we're doing a video about wartime monster sightings, I figured I will cover it again. A Belgian pilot was flying over the dense jungles of the Congo on a rescue mission when he saw a huge snake below. He really couldn't believe how big he thought this snake was, so he turned around to make another pass. And when flying over this huge snake again, he realized that this snake was trying to attack the helicopter. He said if the helicopter was flying any lower, the snake probably would have struck. He stated that this snake must have been at least 50 feet long and could easily kill any man. He managed to take a couple pictures of the snake, and some experts even believe that this huge snake could even be bigger than 50 feet by estimating the size of the termite mounds within this picture, making this some great evidence that monster snakes could still be living throughout the Congo region, and maybe even in some dense forest throughout the world. The kraken, or giant squid, used to be stuff of legends and myths, even though throughout time there have been carcasses found throughout the world. Only a couple of years ago did we finally catch this elusive beast on camera for the first time. According to Wiki, the biggest carcass ever found of a giant squid was 43 feet. but some sightings suggest that these creatures can get up to 200 feet long. One such sighting of a massive giant squid comes from a man known as A.G. Starkey during World War II. One evening, he was on deck on a British trawler when he saw something very odd in the water. He saw a very big green circle that was glowing. He really didn't know what to make of it. After observing this mysterious glowing green circle for a couple of seconds, he realized that he was looking at a huge eye. He was extremely excited and scared, as he couldn't believe how big this eye was. It was massive. Now, the giant squid did not seem to be frightened, and it just floated alongside the boat, looking curiously at this man. Mr. Starkey wanted to find out how long this giant squid was, so he walked the full length of the boat, realizing that this huge squid was about the same size, if not longer, making this giant squid roughly 175 feet long. Now, most of his friends and colleagues did not believe one word of this young man's story, but at the time, the giant squid was only a myth. Since we now know that giant squids do exist, some now believe that A.G. Starkey might have just been telling the truth after all. And throughout the centuries, there have been many other alleged encounters with massive 200 feet plus giant squids, thus fueling the legend of the mythical creature known as the Kraken. The Alma, or Russia's Bigfoot, is very famous, and there have been loads of credible sightings of this creature throughout the years. One of the most famous and credible sightings happened in 1925 when a general was hunting down anti-Soviet rebels. During one interrogation, a captured rebel told the general that they were attacked by some very strange ape-like creatures in a nearby cave. The general, no stranger to interrogation, believed that this man was telling the truth. So he sent some soldiers to go investigate. And right away they found a very unusual dead body. This dead body was covered in reddish hair and was about 5 feet 5 inches tall. This creature looked like an ape, but also looked like a man. The general was so disgusted with this creature that he had it buried. And sadly, no one knows where this grave is today. Now, over the centuries, there have been tons of sightings of a half-ape, half-man-like creature in the Russian wilderness, and they are now known as the Alma, and some believe that the Alma are actually Neanderthals. And if any species can hide from the modern world, the remote Russian wilderness is the perfect place for something to hide. There was a lot of unusual sightings and occurrences during the Vietnam War, and this case, reported by Robert Pollock, has always intrigued me. Although this isn't really a monster sighting, but it's just so bizarre that it's one I want to cover. Robert was flying off the coast of South Vietnam when he noticed a movement in the rear of the plane, where the cargo was. When he went to see what was going on, he saw a whirling gray mist that seemed to appear out of nowhere. This gray mist was oddly rotating clockwise, and it started to grow in size. Now, it didn't look like smoke, but Robert thought that there might be something wrong with the plane. But after frantically checking everything, he realized that the plane was perfectly fine. After Robert's commotion, the whole crew went to go see what all the fuss was about, and they too were shocked and a little bit scared when coming face to face with this very odd rotating mist. When Robert put his hand in the mist, he could not see it anymore. His hand seemed to just vanish right into thin air. Robert and the crew were amazed by this, and everybody started to experiment with this mist. One of the crew members stepped inside this mist, and he couldn't see anything outside of the mist, and nobody could see him. It's like he just turned invisible. Now, this mist had no odor or taste. Robert and the crew had never seen anything like this before, and they just couldn't explain all these bizarre anomalies associated with this mist. Then, the mist started to shrink in size and slowly rotate counterclockwise until it was just gone. After this strange encounter, they all decided never to speak of this again, as they all were very afraid of what people might think. But over the years, Robert couldn't stop thinking about this incident, and he eventually told the world what happened. Some experts believe that Robert and the crew might have witnessed some sort of top-secret government weapon that they were secretly testing in Vietnam. Maybe some sort of cloaking device, or maybe something else entirely.